We interrupt this recording of the Not Approved podcast to let you know that Tater is an absolute f***ing idiot who cannot do the simplest of... We apologise for the previous intro. It has come to our attention that perhaps I should be nicer when describing the inefficiencies and complete incompetence of my co-host and her unapparent... Right, do you want to know the truth? Do you really want to know what happened? Right. The audio is botched. The audio is balked. It is upside down in the cage. It is literally growing the daisies right now. You're just going to have to live with it, okay? We at the Not Approved podcast apologize sincerely. No one's going to take this seriously. You've got to write me a better explanation than this. This is terrible. Dear survivors, it came to our attention that there was technical difficulties during the recording of this particular podcast episode. Please bear with us. Normal programming will resume, and we have managed to salvage what we can. Enjoy. Welcome back, dear survivors, to another spine-tingling edition of the Not Approved podcast, where we dive deep into the uncertainties of futures that have not yet been realized, where we climb the vastness of mountains yet to be discovered. We are here to offer our survival techniques to you and to anyone else who may be listening across the airways. I am your host, Rexy, and I am joined by my co-host, Tater.
How's it going, Rexy? I'm ready to get started today.
Yep, we have another good one. Another one that we have crippled the AI engine with.
Down with the AI engine. Down with it.
Down with it.
We don't need AI. We have really weird concepts to discuss here at the Not Approved podcast. We are all about figuring out that weird 1% chance that this world might or might not happen, and figuring out how you would survive it if it did.
And I think, without further ado, I think we should introduce this strange concept which comes to you this week as a weird crossover amalgamation of ideas. Dear survivors, I would like to present to you, first of all, a world very much in the vein of Iron Lung. If you've seen the new Markiplier hit movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mark, we love you. We thank you for your creative endeavors. Long may they continue. Now, we set our world in a future far beyond this one, where humanity has left Earth for one reason or another and gone on to colonize planets and cross the distances of space in great colonial ships, ready to do what white people do. However,
well, this got dark real
during this
fast.
great colonialization of the galaxy, just one day, without explanation, the stars and the planets disappear. Frightening as that might be on its own, what a creepy concept that is. That is not the only part of our story. No, we bring to you a crossover, the likes of which you have never seen before. And Tater, tell us what else we are dealing with.
Happy to, Rexy. So, with the colony ships having no destination in mind anymore, all planets and stars have disappeared. Everything's gone. They don't have a destination anymore. So all they can do is just exist. So all these colony ships circle up and they just exist in the vastness of space together. They are their own stars. They are their own planets. And all they have left is the vast vacuum of space. So what do they have to do? Well, they can't grow. There's nowhere to grow to. There's nowhere for the population to grow to. So in order to keep the population at a manageable size, they enter into a dystopian type society in which they pick an imposter among them. There's our crossover. Does that sound familiar, everyone? It should.
Iron Lung
Iron Lung among us. Yes.
Crossover, baby.
Yes. So the society just picks one person every year as an imposter. So the rest of the population doesn't know it. Only the privileged elected official knows who this imposter is. They pick the imposter, or the system picks the imposter. And that person's task is to kill off as many people on the ship as possible before getting caught. Their goal is to not get caught all year. That's their intent. That's their mission. Kill people, keep the population down, don't get caught. Now, the rest of the population is going to be hunting this person down, and their goal is to try to, follow the Among Us rules, try to kick that person off the ship. Their goal is to try and just hunt down this person and throw them off the ship. The problem with that, ladies and gentlemen, if you have played Among Us, is people make mistakes.
Yes, quite hilarious ones.
So they are inevitably going to throw a lot of innocent people off the ship, unfortunately. So that is basically the premise: is a ship that maintains its population levels by having someone whose job it is to kill people, and someone who inevitably accidentally kills people trying to catch that person. So there's our world. Let's kind of flesh this out a little bit more, because this one's a little bit complicated.
I mean, I don't think it's particularly complicated. I just think there are many layers to it.
I think
that
it's
we need
visually.
to flesh out.
I think it's visually just pleasing in general. Can you imagine? Just imagine these colony ships. I imagine there are colony ships where the imposter has been so successful that the entire colony ship is now empty.
And it's only the imposter left.
It's only the imposter left. There's only one person left. Just entire massive colony ships the size of countries. Could you imagine just sitting there looking out the window into space and seeing a completely dead colony ship in the distance? Could you imagine that? That would have to be have to be really traumatizing to look at, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be creepy on so many levels, and especially, even if you are the imposter, being left on that ship alone, just drifting through the vastness of space, you can't possibly control the trajectory on your own at that point. You are left drifting in endless darkness, the sheer psychological trauma of that alone. But I digress. Let us flesh out the scheme, as it were. I would propose maybe, because we are trying to sustain the human race, but we need to keep numbers at a controlled number. Sorry for the repetition there. It happens sometimes. Would this be a scenario where the imposter is also, and trigger warning here, would the imposter also be allowed to, shall we say, kill children?
Yes. Unfortunately,
right.
We're facing a dystopian future. I mean, we've already made it very, very clear through popular media that children are not protected from dystopian societies. Hunger Games is the prevalent one that comes to mind.
Absolutely.
Children are not spared, unfortunately. Now, if you are an imposter, that is up to your discretion, is the thing. And the imposter is completely randomized. We have no clue who it's not like we're picking an imposter out of the prisons, or we're not picking up imposter out of some list of societal deviants. No, we're
not picking up a random hitchhiker on the way.
Exactly. It could be anyone. It could be anyone. So that's the thing, is it could be a criminal. But it also could be Jimmy down the street. It could be a child. You don't know who got picked. That's the problem.
It could be a child imposter. That's creepy. A child imposter.
Now I'm getting
no
Chucky
one would
vibes.
suspect.
Could you imagine some little sociopathic kid running around trying to murder people?
Okay, so also, what is the incentive here for the imposter to actually do the task? What if you got an absolute wet noodle of a person who's like, I could not possibly harm all of these people. They are like my family. I have come to love them so very much. I have no idea what accent that was supposed to be.
That's like like a juicy fruit snacks like type version of like rich brushes.
Yeah. Yes.
We're in high society.
Sire!
Sire. Oh, God.
Oh, that brings back nostalgia.
To your
That-
point, though, that is a valid point. Is
what is the incentive?
what is the incentive behind this? Because just murder is not a good incentive in any regard. So I think because it is a dystopian society, the classic go-to of survive this and your family's position will rise. Like I think that would be enough. These colony ships must be crowded. They must be low on resources at all times. And
Yes.
so people are probably, ooh, this could be good. So your family, okay, if you do well, if you succeed in killing a certain number of people as an imposter, your family will, at the end of the year, rise in rank, and they'll get money or something. I don't know. But here's the alternative. If you do not do well enough, I kind of like this idea better.
Okay, go ahead.
If you
refuse or if you just don't do well enough.
If the hierarchical authority, like if the authority who is picking the imposter decides you're not doing well enough, they will pick another imposter, and that imposter's first target is you.
Okay, so because this is interesting, because I kind of like the idea that nobody knows that this is kind of like, names in a hat kind of thing.
So AI will
Yeah.
determine that you're
Yeah.
not doing well enough.
It
and
cannot
will
be a
stick
human
someone
that
else on
knows.
you.
Yeah. No human can know that who is the imposter, because otherwise that gives the game away. However, if we gave it to Skynet, basically, then Skynet has no.
If we gave it to Siri,
Yeah.
said, "Hey Siri, pick a person to go murder their friends."
Yeah. No, I think
like
that's the
that,
most
yeah.
logical thing, is that if you have the onboard mother computer make
Yes.
the decision. If there's been like a primary directive across all of humanity and everyone gets the same upload into their mother computer software,
I would agree
then
with that. Yeah.
it will just continue indefinitely.
Whatever runs their lives runs their deaths as well. And so this is just it's such a cold concept too, is to decide, we need this many people, this percentage of the population needs to decrease immediately. Go forth and conquer, and if you don't succeed at this number, then I'm going to sick someone else on you.
I mean, I think the thing is that human history is littered with examples of people being out for themselves, and like snitching on their neighbors for their own good. Turn in your friends and family. Fabulous prizes to be won under many a dictatorship has been the way. So I don't see that this is not our most outrageous of scenarios. Like, yeah, fair enough, the deep space, iron lung, no stars, no planets, we're all gonna die eventually, maybe, unless we can sustain. But the idea of, the self-preservation, we need to keep things going, and if you do well, hey, here's an extra 500 credits, go and buy yourself something nice. That works, because it always has done.
True. Humans, unfortunately, do not need a lot of incentive to go turn against other humans. It's just, it is, anthropologically speaking, it is a recurrent theme. So I do agree with you. So I think the incentive behind it, and granted, this entire concept hinges on the fact that there will be people who are reluctant to go after their peers. They'll be reluctant to go after their fellow man. So that's kind of how this concept works. If you had this mass murderer every year, it wouldn't work. We'd be losing too many people every year. The reason it works is that certain years, some people are just going to suck at the imposter role. Let's just be honest. If you've played Among Us, you know that there are just some people who are very, very much not good at this. At lying. So I imagine there's going to be some years where they're really, really good and they take out a huge portion of the population. Maybe they take out the entire ship. But there are going to be some years where exactly, they take out too many. But there's going to be some years where they try to kill their first person and they fail miserably. The rest of the population figures it out, throws them into space. Huzzah! We get to spend the next 11 months completely stress-free. The imposter's been caught. So no one had to die.
I'm just stuck on the idea of a child being picked for imposter and all of the victims have been strangled with a jump rope and it just becomes known as the jump rope murders.
Oh my God. Imagine if a baby got selected. Imagine if a baby got selected, then it's the mother's job to go after these people on behalf of her child. So by the time her child is old enough to talk, it is already technically a mass murder.
God, sins of the father much. Here we go.
Jesus. But yeah,
okay, we've gone down a rabbit hole.
We're going down rabbit holes, but it is a concept that I honestly would love to see this movie made, because it is a concept that has infinite possibilities of storylines available. And if they're looking for a way to actually, cinematically depict Among Us, if they're trying to make a movie of Among Us, here's your concept, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is the concept to follow.
So, with that being said, I think we have fleshed out the scenario enough that now we can move on to the segment that I love, that is entitled the Know Thy Enemy. And the thing is that this is not just necessarily the enemy that is the imposter. There are so many layers as to what is your enemy in this situation. Your enemy includes a lack of and dwindling supply of resources. Your enemy is the sheer paranoia every year of knowing that another person has been selected to take out as many people as they possibly can. Your enemy is the fear of you being identified as the imposter, even if you are not. There are so many things to consider in this. The imposter is but one premise of this, that is know thy enemy.
I think that's an excellent point, because when you're talking about layers, we're not only talking about the physical threat. You've got, so let's kind of dissect the threats by their category. So you've got your physical threat, which is the imposter or the public paranoia. So you can face danger from the imposter as the imposter, or in the public you can face the sheer just unfortunate witch hunt nature of humanity, in which you do something that gets you singled out and you accidentally get spaced.
Yeah, that's the thing. People love a scapegoat.
They do. They love to gang together for a scapegoat, and unfortunately, it does tend to pick the innocent man. So that is our big risks in the physical sense.
Yeah, that's not even mentioning the severe dread that would take over everyone just in this dying space.
Well, that's the psychological threat as well. So
right.
you've got your physical threat.
Right.
You've got the physical threat of being the imposter, being hunted by the imposter, or being
identified
a victim
as
of
the
public. Exactly, yes. Identified as the imposter. So you've got your three risks in the physical sense. In the psychological sense, you have this public mass paranoia, and like you're talking about, it's this doom, this, what are we working towards, this intent, this meaning of life kind of paranoia, this psychological toll that is being held on these people. What are we going to do? There's no planets anymore. There's nothing. What are we building towards? Humanity has always been a building and expanding societies.
But if there's nowhere to build to...
Exactly, there's nowhere to expand. So what are we going to do in these senses? So that's the psychological toll, and the psychological threat is people can get, when backed into a corner and they have nowhere to go, people get vicious. People can get paranoid, and they can get reactive very easily. So even though... In our olden times, we were perfectly happy to accuse people of being witches, and we had no drive to, except for religious backing. That's the only drive we had, was religious backing and fear. In this case, we have I'm sure, some type of religious influence, but there's also going to be the fear and this hopelessness looming over everyone that will definitely drive a lot of witch hunts, unfortunately.
Yeah, because, what we'd like to imagine is that humanity comes together and tries, its hardest. And like, we must preserve each individual life, and life has now become so precious. But I don't see that necessarily being the case, that there are a certain amount of people within this protective collective. There are lives that are expendable, and especially when resources are dwindling.
So we've got a physical threat, a psychological threat, and then we just have environmental threats. Let's talk about those giant floating ghost ships. We have entire
Yeah.
colonies that have been wiped out. You know, where did that imposter go?
Yeah.
Where did the imposter
Are they
go?
still there?
Are they still there? Did they come to this ship? Did they try to migrate to a different colony ship? Like, there's so many different environmental factors out there.
And this is the thing, because the whole existential dread of this environment, and that being whether you are on a populated ship or not. Obviously, this is going to be worse if you're just on your own and just left to suffer with, the guilt and the ghosts of, the tragedy that was wrought upon you. Just like, at some point the human mind is going to crack, and there are people who are just going to become absolutely crazed and psychotic, and potentially even lean harder into the role of imposter.
As far as breaking down this world and knowing thy enemy, we're going to approach this concept, I think, from the general public. I think approaching it as the imposter is we know the risks. That's standard. That's already played in among us. You know the risks of being an imposter. You know the dangers and how to survive of being an imposter. That's not going to be beneficial in this conversation because it's already fleshed out in the game. So something that isn't fleshed out in the game because we've introduced it is this general public. The general public who just wants to go about their day and live their lives, do their tasks.
Do their tasks.
They just want to do their tasks.
I just want to empty the trash chute.
I just want to empty the trash, man. I just want to plug in this wire. So I think that the more interesting conversation comes from being a member of the public in this case. I know the imposter role by nature is a little bit more fun, but I feel like it's not going to be beneficial for this conversation. So knowing thy enemy, I think we should know thy enemy from the stance of we are just your everyday average Joe member of the populace. What do you think?
Yes, I agree. Let's talk about this from the collective rather than the individual.
Yeah. So in knowing thy enemy, I think it's important. We've already kind of talked about the psychological toll and impact this would have. So in that case, we also want to really emphasize that I keep going back to witch hunt because that's the closest reflective that I have on this is that is what it essentially becomes. It becomes this weird mass-minded witch hunt. So your goal is to be part of that mass, I think. So it's knowing your surrounding and knowing the status of normal. I'm sorry. I personally celebrate special. I personally celebrate being different and having something unique about you. But in this world, I think it's going to be very dependent on knowing how to be the most bland, normal, saltine person you have ever seen in your life.
But at the same time, at the same time, being someone who blends too much into the background, someone who is like, we never saw it coming. Like, they were always so quiet. Yeah, because that's what they always say about serial killers. Like, he just kept himself to himself. We never noticed anything until we started noticing the smell that was coming from his drains.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Boring doesn't necessarily mean quiet. I have met some supremely boring people who don't know how to shut up. So it's like, it's not how much you're saying, it's what you have to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just feel like, if you are too much of a boring, quiet person, then you also instill this sense of distrust that lingers
valid.
around you. Because then, like, yes, people who are outspoken will get the finger pointed at them. People who are, wrong place, wrong time. But if you are quiet and socially awkward, you're going to be one of the first persons who's, you attract the finger pointing at that point.
I feel so bad because I have this feeling that I'm going to be part of the. We'll move on to that section later. But like I have a feeling I'm a little bit doomed in this world. But let's move on to that. So as far as knowing thy enemy, I think we have a pretty good concept of our enemy is our neighbor. Our enemy
is ourselves.
Ourselves, yes. So you have to be kind of always on your toes in this society, and that sounds exhausting, I know, but it's all going to be about masking, I think, in this society. So we'll move on, I think, to survival tips and tricks here in a second. But I think the important thing in knowing thy enemy, and I say it over and over again in every world we are, is observation. Be observant. Make notes. Make mental pictures and notes. Keep observant. Keep on your toes and just look. It's so easy to get caught up, and that's where the psychological impact comes in, is it's so easy to get caught up in that hysteria. But if you pause and look, sometimes things can be very obvious that you weren't recognizing just because you were caught up in the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think it's healthy, and I think we're ready to kind of branch over into our survival tips and tricks now that we kind of have an understanding of our enemy, right?
Yes, and in doing so, we apply 3 different dimensions to the survival tips and tricks, which, we know them, we love them. They are 3. 3 is the number of the counting, and the counting shall be 3.
I love the good Monty Python reference.
Yeah, it is. Just full of Monty Python references. I was going to say she turned me into a newt when you were talking about the witch hunt.
Turned me into a newt.
I got better.
Oh my god. We can't go Holy Grail on this. We can't. Oh my god, could you imagine Monty Python's take on this concept?
I think I would die laughing like I did the first time
That'd be
I watched
so
Holy
good.
Grail.
Either Monty Python or just like a Mel Gibson approach to this concept would be so funny.
The thing is, Mel Gibson's approach to it would be super serious, and that would also be laughable. So, we have 3 tips and tricks. They are, and you know them, we love them, they are resist, comply, or die. Those are our 3 strategies, so let us look at each of those individually. What can we get from these? Starting with resist. So obviously resist would be to try and, if you were given the position of imposter, is to say, no, I'm not doing this, but then that results in die. In terms of the populace, resist, you're not going to get involved in the witch hunt. What are you, the imposter?
I actually think resist might be a little bit more layered, or not layered.
No, go ahead.
No, I actually think that resist would be more complex than that. So I think personally I might lean towards resist. So my concept for survival tactics, resist would be trying to break into the AI algorithm and track down who the imposter is, or shut down the imposter system entirely. I think it would be trying to convince higher ups in leadership, lobbying to stop the imposter ritual altogether. I think it would be trying to manipulate the system. I think there's many ways that you can resist in this concept.
Okay, I'm just going to devil's advocate here. You've come to, the captain, or you've tried to start a rebellion, a mutiny, as it were, amongst your fellow crewmates. Like, no, we need to get rid of this system. Your crewmates and your captain are going to look at you and say, you want to go against what Mother says? Mother that has led us this far? We have managed to sustain, so much, as a result of Mother's guidance.
But now you're just describing the plot of WALL-E, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, because you can't trust AI. AI is.
Exactly. We're in total agreement here. Yes, but
We are. I'm
it is
devil's
possible to
advocating here.
resist.
I'm
It is
devil's
possible to
advocating here.
resist.
I just feel that if you resist, you open yourself up to accusation.
I agree. I do agree that there are always inherent risks to the resist path, though. We can never say resist is just completely error free. Unfortunately,
No.
resist is always going to come with risks. So yes, you are opening yourself up to be very easily targeted by higher ups. You're very, very visible to the rest of the population as like a potential deviant, and you sus.
Potential even imposter. Like,
Exactly,
oh, they must be the
yeah.
imposter because they want to get it stripped away. Yeah,
Or just being accused as
we'll put her in the airlock first.
Exactly. Just like, this is how we get rid of our deviants. It's like, oh, you're a lot of work. I'm just gonna accuse you of being an imposter. Or imagine you want rid of your husband. Like, he's just an ass.
Okay, can I just flesh out one more thing? Is this like a group mob mentality where just a bunch of people could grab someone and toy them into an airlock and bye-bye? Or do we need a full democratic vote on this? Like, everyone gets together and votes who is the imposter? Like in Among Us, where we press a big red button and call an emergency meeting.
I think we all walk around like with this tablet with like a yes/no button on it, and we have to vote. Like, just like you always have like a yes or a no on your wrist, and you're just ready to vote the second someone's face pops up on a shield or on your local TV. It's just like, oh, I know that one. That they sus. They're sus.
Yeah, they sus. The word sus comes back into full effect.
But no, I think resist has a lot of potential. And I think it can even branch out further than we're even imagining. Like, resist could go as far as leaving the ship voluntarily to repopulate one of those ghost colonies. Like, hey, I have no desire to be any part of this. We're gonna leave and we're gonna go repopulate that ghost colony over there. We don't want. We're gonna create our own society. You know, like, there are options.
So would you, going to, let's again, devil's advocate. You go over to the ghost colony. Like, I do apologize. My tongue seems to have fallen out of my mouth for some reason. Colony.
Yeah.
You go over there, and what are you going to disable the mothership on the ghost station? In which case you are left drifting still.
It's entirely possible. I mean, we would, by nature, in this concept, we are inherently dependent on AI. It sounds like we would be very dependent on whatever runs our society, and that would be AI in this case. So I think working with AI in that nature, I think it would just be a matter of, I still think breaking into the system to try to manipulate the odds or mess with the AI's actual selection system is kind of a fun idea.
It's a baller move, I'll give you that.
But I do think going to a ghost colony, the entire point of this is AI saying, okay, here's our population percentage, so here's how much the imposter needs to take out. Yes. So if we have a tiny, tiny colony going over there, the AI is automatically going to be able to recognize, hey, my population is too small to support an imposter right now, so we're not going to do it. Like, that is AI's point. AI has its mission, and how it achieves that mission is always where things go a little willy wonky. So if its mission is have a sustainable population, it will automatically recognize, hey, this population ain't sustainable. It's too small. We're not doing the imposter until the population needs to be controlled.
Right.
If that makes sense.
So there is some sense still of preservation in the AI's thinking of this.
I think so. If it's given a mission,
it can't stop an imposter from going haywire if it chooses to, though.
Like, if we always see where things go wrong in movies, it's like telling AI, go cut that piece of toast, and it pulls out an entire cleaver. You know, it's like AI gets a little confused on the pathway, but its end goal remains the same because it's been issued that goal in its programming. So its goal in this case is keep a sustainable population of humans. So it will recognize and support that as best it can. Now, whether it gets a little confused by starting to clone some of the survivors or whatever they're going to do, like
that's a whole other future.
That's a whole other concept. But in this case, I think it is a valid option to leave your colony if you want to resist. Leave your colony and go to one of these ghost colonies to establish a new society. That is entirely a possibility in my mind.
Okay, I think that's a fair argument now. So let us move on to. I think we can, as we do in most cases, we will eliminate die, because die is just basically get yourself into an airlock and say bye.
I look forward to the world or the apocalypse in which we actually do advocate for, like, I'm imagining some sort of like afterlife kind of apocalypse or something like that, or a video game based. Ooh, a video game based world would be fun for the die option.
Write that down. You're gonna respawn.
Write that down. Respawn. Okay. We'll explore that a little bit more. So we're gonna just skip right over die for this concept, because that doesn't support our mission here. We're talking about survival tips and tricks.
Yeah. So let's go into comply, which obviously has its pros and cons. You would join the witch hunt and contribute to what the system is saying. Like, you would play the game essentially. Now the thing is that you automatically bring yourself into a sphere of paranoia and accusation, because anyone can be the imposter. No one knows who it is except the mother computer.
Correct.
It can be a child, it can be the captain, it can be the engineer, it can be the caterer, it could be you. But because no one knows, everyone's just going to immediately point out someone that they don't like. And the thing, you can't please everyone. Eventually, someone's going to point the finger at you.
I kind of want to do a comparison. So in this case, the immediate reaction is, okay, hide away from everybody. Hide. Like, just live a life like a stowaway. Go work in the
air vents.
In the air vents. Go live in the air vents and totally... That's sus. That's sus.
Yeah. If you get seen coming out the air vents, that's it.
I think we have two extreme versions of comply, which is try to immerse yourself in the society in a certain way, or try to escape in some way and like hide. And I think the immersion is probably the more viable option, because no matter how good you are at hiding, the imposter will look for... I imagine the imposter is going to look for the stragglers first, the easy pickoffs. So you're not only facing the risk of your society, but you're also facing the risk of the imposter. So I don't think hiding is a viable option, because the imposter will look for those ones first. Who's branched off, who's away from the crowd.
Yeah. Which is where the buddy system comes into effect.
The buddy system. Hold hands, boys.
We've got to have accountability at all times, so everyone can have an alibi as to where they were at what time.
Yes. I like that.
Everyone's got someone who can, hand on heart, say, no, they were with me. They were with me when Teddy got killed. He never left my sight. It's fine. My issue... I have a big issue with the idea of being someone who is the first person to, like, accuse someone and do it in a very loud voice. Of, like, I nominate this person as imposter. Now, that's all well and good. You can be the person who's like, I'm in charge and I say it's them, and you can say it with such conviction that other people start to get around you and like, I agree with what you're saying. Definitely. They're guilty. 100% it's them. You're right, Bob. Let's just... let's kick this guy off. However, if you are wrong, and that's the thing, is that the AI will always tell you whether you are right or wrong, whether you have succeeded.
Yep.
In getting rid of the imposter. If you are wrong, you are the next person who's getting nominated, because why would you accuse him, Bob? You were so sure, Bob.
Well, not necessarily. Like you could say like, "Oh, but he did this that was weird, wasn't it? That was weird." Like you could still explain it away, I think.
You could, but I think it would be very hard, especially when human life is on the line.
No, that's valid. That is valid. And I don't think either of us would be the first to point out someone that it's them, but we all know
God,
that person.
no.
We
God,
all
no,
know
I
that
am not
person.
making the first move.
We all know them. It's the one who would snitch to the teacher all the time. We all know one person like
Yeah.
that who's just immediately going to be like, "All right, here's my strategy. Make everyone else look guilty."
Yeah.
The worse they look, the better I look. You know, we all know
Yeah.
that person, unfortunately, and there's no getting around that. So it's a matter of befriending that person, I think.
Yeah, I think human psychology comes into this a lot. Like, you've got to make yourself as useful as possible, as trustworthy as possible, and as likable as possible, which, again, for a large portion of people out there, those three things are not things that they easily fall into.
And that's where I think I was getting at the point of always having to be on your toes, the psychological toll that takes on you as a person. I don't know about the rest of y'all survivors, but I personally am exhausted at the thought of going out in public and doing public events. It takes a lot of effort to get me to go do things. Like I like when I go out and do things, but I get tired very easily and I get peopled out. I get really sick of people very quickly. So I would struggle at this. But in this world, if we were going with the comply option, if we're looking at comply as a valid option, you'd have to constantly be that extrovert. You'd have to constantly be out in public with people, with groups around public organized events. You have to make yourself the most normal person out there. You have to mask essentially, and unfortunately in our society a lot of people are very good at masking. I hate that people feel that they have to mask, but in this concept, your entire life is masking every minute of every day. Like in the mornings you have to go to a group breakfast, everyone's having brunch in the morning, everyone let's go out and have brunch, and then immediately after brunch you can't leave yourself any time between. You have to go with that group to go to work or whatever. You have to fill every second of your day, like Rexy was saying, with alibis. You have to fill it with alibis, but you have to be invested in it. You actually have to act normal, like you're invested in it, like you have nothing else going on in your mind. Nothing impacts you.
Do you know what? I've just thought that maybe this is like a secondary protocol of the AI, in a way that not only is it to support population control, but it's also to stimulate our minds so that we don't focus on the overall dread that humanity is going to die out. If it's like, okay, if I give them something else to focus on, then they won't go stir crazy over the fact that humanity is dead.
Like we're a bunch of gerbils that they gave an empty water bottle to play with.
Yeah, like it's to stop us from cracking. It's to stop us from cracking.
I don't see how that. I feel like, well, I guess AI being AI would think this would be good stimulation, like the human pet.
It engages the mind. It engages the mind. It keeps the receptors that are aware of threats engaged.
It would be a secondary. I don't know if that would necessarily be a planned intention, but it is a secondary impact of the AI's flawed assumption of keeping a quote unquote healthy population.
I'll reckon that if you type this into any AI bot, that that would come up as a secondary requirement of why this is such a good idea.
It's not a good idea. We've come up with very clear reasons it's not a good idea.
I know, but I'm just, from all of my understanding and my pop culture knowledge of AI, this is exactly what the conclusion it would come to. Like, not only is this a good idea for this reason, but hey, it's got the added bonus.
I imagine the feeling of being a gerbil on a little track, just constantly running with nowhere to go. Like it's just the psychological impact this would have on people is just ridiculous.
Okay, so which one are you going for? Because we've got to move this along. So
For viability, I think I'm going to go with resist. I don't
Okay.
necessarily think I would go with resist in the sense of trying to break into the AI, mostly because technology escapes me and I just hate it. I think I would be part of the offshoot that says, we want nothing to do with this. We're going to the next colony, to the empty colony over there.
Okay.
I would be part. I think that, plus, I'm an adventurous sort. Like, yeah, it takes a lot of effort to get me into a group, but if I'm going out like hiking or something, that's fun. So this would be, imagine you're trapped on a single ship your entire life. This is your only opportunity to quote unquote explore, is to go to another ship. So I think I would be part of this group that volunteers to go to a ghost ship and try to repopulate the ghost ship. What would your path be?
My path, do you know what? This is a crossover episode. I'm making a crossover decision.
Uh-oh.
I am going to comply, but
Really?
I am going to be resisting as I comply.
Oh God. Okay, expand on that because I'm not quite sure I understand. Is this like a malicious compliance option here?
Basically, yes.
Your boss must love you.
I am an essential part of the team, I'll have you know. But no, I would comply. I would go along with the game. You know, because at the end of the day there is reason to say, do you know what? We actually do need some kind of population control. Yeah, we do actually need that to some degree, especially in a universe where everything's just getting smaller and smaller and hope is draining. You know, we do need population control. However, I would be doing it with the incentive that if anyone with the know-how, the access, and the conviction, dare I say, to want to go and sabotage the AI or to reprogram the AI, because in this instance, like you said, we are reliant on the AI for a lot of things, unfortunately. I don't want to get rid of the AI, but I want to reprogram it. What I want to do is go ahead with this, because I don't want to be accused of not going ahead with it. I will play the game, and I will play the game well. That's not suggesting I ever played Among Us well. I was actually quite bad.
Oh, I know. Actually, I think that you'd be, honestly, I would picture you as someone who would take advantage of this system.
Oh, go ahead, do elaborate. Expound.
I think that you're like you would be like, you're someone who would like sell alibis. Like, there'd be this underground market of selling alibis, and
no, they were with me.
They were with me. We were knitting, like like
oh my God, I hadn't even thought of that.
That would be like some underground currency, and I imagine some black market leader would be organizing the sold alibis across the ship. Regardless if you're the imposter or not, if you realize, oh my God, I have a chunk of time that's not accounted for, and people might think that I'm the imposter. Oh my God. So if you're the imposter or not, you need alibis. So I imagine there would be this underground market that you would lead selling alibis.
I thank you for your confidence in me yet again. That I can do this.
It was just such a you thing. I thought for sure that you'd come up with that.
I love that. Because then not only am I participating in the game, which is keeping me mentally stimulated and on high alert, I am winning the game.
You're winning the game.
I am winning the game on two fronts. Thank you for that. I have won twice. Two times! Until I'm picked as imposter, which the law of averages says that I will do at some point. But I'll still be there selling alibis for everyone else.
But I mean, like, imagine that you could not put yourself in a better position on the ship. Is A, you're selling alibis to everyone else. So not only are you super rich compared to everybody else because everyone's going to need alibis, but B, you have something to hold over the heads of everybody else on the ship. So if your name ever comes up for a vote, all you have to do is say, I will call all y'all out, and I have
Yep.
the receipts to prove it.
If I'm going down, I'm taking everyone down with me.
Exactly. So you basically
Because
have
that was going to be my thing. That was going to be my thing if I was picked for imposter, is that if I'm going down, everyone goes down with me. Like, I will open the inner and outer airlock at the same time and we all go.
So you'd be the reason for a ghost ship, essentially.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God. Oh God. So is that, so what was our conclusion here? I'm leaving the ship and you're leading
I'm
the
playing
ship.
the game.
You're playing the
I am
game.
winning. 2-time champion survivors.
So it sounds like we have our survival methods. So we really have an understanding of it's how you play the game and who you play the game with, essentially.
Yes.
Who do you trust to have your back and give you an alibi? So to that end, I think we want to move on to our social section where we pick our fellow survivor. Who are we surviving the apocalypse with?
Social section.
We do really need like a little sound bite. That would be entertaining as heck.
That will be it. Social section.
With some fancy chimes in the background. Okay.
Anyway, you have not sent me, I don't think.
Crap.
Or have you?
I
No,
have
you
not.
have not sent me our candidates. Our candidates for this week's.
All right, so
Survival
let's
selection.
launch into our candidates here. So I want to set a reminder for our survivors. We are looking through dating apps not for potential dates, but for survivability skills for our specific apocalypse. So while someone
Yes.
might not be suitable for this apocalypse, they could very easily be suitable for one of our other apocalypses. So we're just
And
looking
bear
for
in
survival
mind-
traits.
And bear in mind, these have been picked entirely at random. They can be male, they can be female. They can be, I don't know, just people. They're picked entirely at random.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So let us look at candidate number 1.
Let's call them red in keeping with our Among Us.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Red. Our first interest of Red is climate change.
He saw it coming.
This guy is advocating. Look at these things.
Wow, he's very much a proponent for societal support. So he's got Black Lives Matter, voter rights, climate change. He's very interested in protecting his fellow man.
Yeah, I noticed though that it's climate change, Black Lives Matter, voter rights, snowboarding and skiing. he only has winter sports interests outside of his protesting.
The rest of the year he must just be really boring.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's him in a car. He's got his
Yeah,
seatbelt
with a
on. Okay, good.
Yeah, safety first, safety first.
How
he
is
has
it
a red
safe
strip.
driving and taking a picture at the same time, though?
I mean, I'm sure the car is not in motion. We always have to say this, that it looks like the car is not in motion. Right, okay. Okay, next picture is him with a couple of mojitos.
Ooh, those look nice. The background is fancy. He must be on a vacation or something. Oh, wait,
I
no,
was
he's
gonna
a
say, that is not-
pilot. He's a pilot, so he
Oh!
travels. Oh, so he might be
Okay.
part of the crew on this case.
He might be,
really high
yes.
up in the chain here.
Okay, I mean, I'm just going to point out this is not a winter sports location. Definitely not.
It is not. I think I had to screenshot each of his pictures, and I'm pretty sure he did not have a single winter sports picture in there.
But he was so steadfast.
So
on
he
the
was
winter
so adamant.
sports.
He likes winter. But okay. What's
Okay. Relaxed and adventurous with a goofy personality.
relaxed?
Good times in whatever manner they present themselves. So there we go. He is engaged in the game.
That makes sense. He's going for ethical non-monogamy in a short-term relationship. So I mean, it makes
Oh,
sense.
wow. I didn't even see that.
Yeah. So I mean, he knows himself. I will give him that. He's looking for good times. What did he say? Enjoying good times, whatever manner they present themselves. So he's looking for a good time, and he's not afraid to own that, which I can respect
I don't know.
that. I respect
I
that.
can respect it. I can respect it. You know, definitely the guy knows himself. I'm just wondering how he has time for all of these activities with all of these advocating things that he's clearly interested in.
I honestly don't know, because he also talks about watching Netflix. So it's like he clearly travels a lot because he's a pilot. He clearly has a lot on his plate. So he's looking actually as a good option, because we're not looking to date him. We're looking for someone that we can partner with in survival, I guess. So
he does list himself as a big time texter, though, and you could say that that's tech savvy. I see that as being socially withdrawn.
He's a freaking pilot. He has to be tech savvy.
You know, but it's saying he's a big time texter, so he's never off his phone.
Yeah, but 2 of his pictures, he's at raves, so I'm pretty sure he's not socially withdrawn.
Well, there's so many people there, you wouldn't know.
This is true, but it shows that he's good at blending into a crowd.
Oh, this is true. This is true. Oh, the next one, he's embraced the steampunk no, not steampunk, the cyberpunk aesthetic.
Yeah, he's wearing a shirt with a bunch of, I think those are Beanie Babies on it.
They're like little bears. They're not
want it.
Care Bears. Yeah,
They look like Beanie
but
Babies.
he has a very loud cap on, which is backwards. I'm just pointing that out for people. He is wearing some kind of face mask, and he is wearing cyber goggles with spikes on them. Very, very similar to yours, Tater. Those are very similar to your goggles that you wear.
Okay, so he knows how to dress. I can respect that. I can respect good taste.
Oh my God! The next one is a picture of his cat pulling the most cat-like pose.
Is that one cat? I thought that was 2 cats.
Oh my God! Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's 2 cats.
It's not one cat folded in half. No, it is 2 cats.
I'm sorry. I just know that my cat has. My one singular cat has pulled poses like that. It's like, oh my God, are you broken? What happened?
Okay, so this individual is he's an interesting dichotomy to me, because on the one hand, he seems to do a lot of out in the public, big events. He likes to blend into the crowd and enjoy himself. But on the other side, he seems to also have this kind of like isolated, like he likes to have some alone time with his cats and
he's an extroverted introvert.
He is. So I think that would do well for him. I think he's a good candidate, A, because he knows how to handle crowds, he knows how to be part of large groups, but B, he's also a pilot. Pilots are inherently trusted by hundreds of people every day as they fly around, and he would probably be pretty high up in the food chain on the colony ship, because he would be involved directly in the piloting of the actual ship. So I think that he is a very, very good Red's looking good here.
Red is a good candidate for just being on the ship. He could potentially play the game, but his advocacy background suggests to me that he would be on the side of resist.
And that works for that's the path I'm taking.
It works for you.
I think it works for... You know what? I think he would also be able to play the game in the nature that you are. Just selling alibis.
Playing both sides.
Yeah, playing both sides of the game. I think he would be good at that too. I think he's a good candidate. What do you think?
I feel like he's in with a shot, but I think for the sake of fairness, we need to look at candidate number 2.
All right, let's take a look at candidate number 2. What?
I think we should name this guy Blue.
Blue? Okay. So we've got red and we got blue. So Blue is a mechanical engineer. What? Okay.
Another brilliant selection for the colonial ship.
Yeah, he would be very, very important to the colonial ship. So I think that the AI would naturally try to avoid picking him if it was in any way corruptible. But let's take a look at his pictures. So...
Oh, that's a very stylistic photo of him with the wine glass in front of the green leaves.
He knows how to pose.
Oh, that is a pose.
He knows
that
how
is
to
a
pose.
nice...
He didn't really change his face. He's kind of got like a derpy face going, but his pose is phenomenal. I will give him props for that.
Yeah. I will say he starts off his bio with, "You're single, I'm single, you know what that means." He has spelt "you're" wrong. He's used the wrong your. He's also spelt crisis wrong. He spelt it in terms of the video game and not the actual word.
You know, if I'm being honest, I don't think he wrote this. I
Do you think?
I think he like copy pasted or repeated something that he saw in a meme or something like that. This does not seem originally
That's
written.
possible.
You're single, I'm single. You know what that means? No one loves us. There's no way he came up with that.
That's depressing. Let's grab a drink and have an existential crisis. To be fair, I'm actually surprised he spelled existential right.
I mean, he's a mechanical engineer. He has to be, you know, when you get thumbsy and you just want to type something and you don't worry about spelling.
I guess, but it's off-putting to me.
Okay, so we already have some internal bias from Rexy here on this guy, but let's take a look at Blue's other pictures here. Here's all Blue's interests here. Are you looking at the one with all his interests?
Yeah. Yes, I'm there.
All right, so we've got diving, road trips, indie music, festivals, snowboarding again.
Wow. You just seem to keep picking the snowboarders. Like, that's been a recurrent theme.
I don't know why. I don't have very good snowboarding nearby, so I don't know why they're all... But again, he seems to be a traveler. All his pictures are him in a different location.
And they are all... Again, these are not winter sports locations. Not one of him in his winter gear.
I know, but he isn't as he doesn't emphasize the winter stuff as much as the last as Red did.
No, he looks like he might be a rave party going kind of guy as well.
Oh, he is, mostly because that picture of him at a rave party is pretty telling.
Yeah. That is pretty telling. Not so much from his picture, but it's everyone else in the background that's giving it away. All of those sparkly cowboy hats and pink fluffy cowboy hats just absolutely give the game away. Like,
you know you're at a rave when you can't see anything because everything sparkles.
Yes.
You get blinded by the outfits first. So he likes to travel, though, so I have concerns about his psychological well-being trapped in a colony ship, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
he's in a different... Yeah. It looks like an entirely different country in almost every picture.
Yes.
And he seems to like the outdoors, he says, so he's in the outdoors a lot. I have concerns about his psychological well-being on a colony ship. But he is a mechanical engineer, so he's got that going for him. But if we had to pick between the two, I think our previous guy works towards our efforts more, because this guy doesn't tell me anything about his trustability, because the Among Us world, this world that we've created in this crossover, is going to be completely reliant on how much you trust someone. And I don't know if I trust this guy that much.
Yeah, it's not that he's untrustworthy or giving an untrustworthy vibe. It's just the fact that I'm looking at his profile and I feel I don't know him any better than I did prior to looking at his profile. Exactly.
It's and that's fine, because he is also looking for short-term stuff. He's not looking... So as far as dating goes, he built this for a dating app. He did what he was supposed to.
Yes.
This would totally work as a dating app. But for our purposes, I don't think we know enough about... The other guy kind of... I don't know, something about his pictures and his bio just really spoke to me as, you're getting what you're looking at right now. This guy, I feel like, has way more behind him and is less
I feel
upfront.
Like, I don't know what it is about Red's first picture. He's giving me untrustworthy vibes in the first picture, just that dead-eyed look into the camera. But I do feel like he is potentially the better candidate on this particular scenario, this particular apocalyptic scenario.
I would agree with that. So it sounds like we're both in agreement on Red.
Yes, I would agree on that.
So congratulations, Red. It sounds like you're our selected survivor in both of our different options of survival. Woohoo! Congratulations.
Woohoo!
All right. So we have the rules of our world. We have our survival choice and our survival tactics. We have the person that we're surviving with. So I think this is a good place for us to start wrapping up by deciding what is our survivability rating, on this world. We do this on every apocalypse and every dystopian future. We do a rating between 1 and 10, and we average it out. So my ability to survive, personally, I'm going to give myself, with my selected option, I'm going to give myself a 6. I tend to be a people pleaser. I don't think I would get accused very early. So long as I'm not selected as the imposter, I think I can make it long enough to enact my plan of going to a ghost colony.
Okay.
And once I get there, I think I'll be okay as far as rebuilding society over there. Like, I think my survivability is decent. However, people tend to screw me over in life. So I'm giving myself a couple points down because I do have a tendency to get betrayed by stuff. So, yeah, I'm giving myself a 6 here.
Is that because you're a doormat?
I am a doormat. I'm such a doormat. It's so sad. It's so sad. But
it is.
I can be feisty when I want to, but I really don't want to be feisty.
Yeah, I've seen you get feisty. It's quite scary.
I can get really, really feisty, but it's a lot of work, and it's just not worth it sometimes.
It's draining.
It's draining. Yeah. So, yeah, I think as long as I can get to the ghost colony, I'll be fine, but up until that point, I think I'm still going to be a 6.
Okay. In my particular circumstances, considering the route that I went down, I consider myself a good 8.5. I feel like, especially if I get on board with this selling of alibis, black market deal that we figured out that I would do, I feel like I would have enough leverage over enough people that it would be detrimental to the colony to even nominate me.
You're a threat, but you're also a savior, and so you're in this weird kind of gray area where no one wants to touch you.
Yeah. I feel like that solidifies my place as not only a useful individual, but someone dangerous enough. Because, like I said, if I'm going down, I'm taking everyone else with me. And if I'm picked for imposter, then my chances of success drastically go through the floor.
I don't know. You control all the alibis.
No.
Yeah, you'd be in a pretty good place.
Yeah, even if I'm the imposter, I still do well.
All you have to do is
because I would have so many people backing me up.
Exactly. You just have to pick and take out the people who don't owe you something.
Yes, exactly. So, no, oh my god, 3-time champion! I cannot lose!
Oh my god. Okay. So, it sounds like your survivability, are you giving yourself like a 10 in this world? What do you there's always a chance. So I'm
going to say there's always a chance. I will knock a point off for fairness. I will knock a point off and give myself a 9.
Okay.
Because the law of averages says there's always a chance.
So what are we looking at here, like a 7.5? Because I'm low. I'm a 6.
I think we should round this up to a 7.
You thinking a 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in regard to humanity's
that's not rounding
overall
up.
Survival.
That's not rounding up. That's rounding down.
Screw you. I don't do numbers.
You're going to have to get better at that if you're going to control the entire underground of a society. Just saying.
Hey, shut up, you. You owe me.
I don't owe you anything. I don't need an alibi. I'm on a ghost ship, man.
I knew where you were. I knew where you were this entire hour.
She's sus. She's sus.
I'm so sus. No, you're sus.
You're sus.
Because actually, I don't know where you were for the last hour. In fact, I don't even know you. I've never seen you before in my life. Imposter.
Okay, so we have a
humanity's overall.
Are we rounding up or are we rounding down? You said you want a 7. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think a 7.
A 7 is respectable.
I think a 7 is, yeah.
Okay, so as far as humanity's survival, I think humanity's survival. If we're going on our knowledge now.
Yes.
we're going to run out of resources eventually.
Yeah, human race is gone.
Yeah.
We are just delaying the inevitable, really.
So as far as surviving the direct threat, which is this imposter concept, I think we'd be doing great. However, there are no planets. There's nothing. It's just the emptiness. It's just emptiness. Now, if we have scientists actively working on how to create matter and how to generate new planets and things like that, sure. Absolutely. Go for it. But I'm going to give us a really low number just because we have no planets to resupply. We have no way.
We have no planets and we have no stars.
No stars.
And we need the stars to feed those planets.
And we need fuel of some type. There's no light. There's no nothing. We need fuel, and so I'm gonna give us like a 3 as humanity. I think humanity's screwed.
As much as that, right? Okay. I think. Well, I don't want to say humanity has no chance whatsoever, but humanity's chance of survival in this scenario is next to nothing. I'm going to give us a 1, only because hope is what drives the human spirit. We need hope, and there is always the possibility, however minuscule it might be, because this is what we deal with every time we make one of these podcasts. We deal in the minuscule and the finite. There is the possibility that somewhere out there in the vastness of space we discover something, and who knows, it may be an iron lung situation, in which case it will be a moon covered in blood, and it will be fucking terrifying. Like, why is there a moon covered in blood?
That's a whole different concept, dude. We can't launch into that.
I know. But there is always a possibility that we find something. But I think even if one starship, one colonial vessel makes it, we would have drifted so far apart from each other that it will be impossible for that one ship to communicate that it's found anything anywhere else. And so it would be left to this small, tiny pocket who have managed to survive the imposter. We don't have the best chances.
So
here,
what numeric value are you assigning to this
1.
dismal chance? Just a 1?
1. Yeah.
Okay, so
absolutely,
I think
just a 1.
We'll average out at a 2 then. What do you think?
If you say so.
I would say so. I want to give humanity. We're like cockroaches.
You want to give us a fighting chance.
I want to give us a fighting chance. We have a tendency to come back from really weird situations. So I do think that a 2 is. I think a 2 is viable. Which means it's like a failing chance. Like if 50% is not, we're screwed. But I want to give us that fighting chance. So we're giving ourselves a 2. Congratulations, humanity. We're not going to survive this one.
Absolutely not. Humanity is dead. And with that, this is the end of this week's episode of the Not Approved podcast. If you have enjoyed this episode, why not give us a like, give us a thumbs up? And I tell you what you can do, and it's absolutely free that you do this. You can share it with someone. You can share it with a friend. Or better yet, why don't you share it with one of your enemies? Know thy enemy, as we say here on the Not Approved podcast.
Know thy enemy. We'll know our enemy next week as well. We'll be back here next week with an entirely new concept. We're always looking for new ideas. Please do post your ideas if you have an idea of a world that you want to see discussed on this podcast.
Absolutely. And remember to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, or if you watch us on YouTube, don't forget to give us a follow there. Give us a like. Do all the things that you want to do. You are boundless. You are infinitesimal. I don't even know if that's the correct word, but I'm going with it.
Now go out there and be sus.
Yes. Forever sus. 3-time champion.